First, let's start with Qantas Chief Executive Alan Joyce. He thinks there have been more calls for him to resign than any other Australian chief executive. It all goes back to 2011 when Qantas was in dispute with aviation unions and ultimately he shut down Qantas's operations. Now it's about the national carrier's response to the COVID shutdown and the present crisis around late or cancelled flights and lost bags. I put all of this to Alan Joyce in an interview this week, including his future at the airline. Okay, so let's then go to your customers, right? Number one, a lot of those people had credits, $1.3 billion in credits from COVID flights that were cancelled that still have to be sort of, if you like, made good on.
Well, they have.
Yes.
So actually, because there were 5 lockdowns, the first lockdown generated nearly $1 billion. Actually, the total amount of credits grew to $2 billion.
But of course, many of those people now coming back to make those credits either found it hard to get a flight or hard to get a flight at the right price.
Well, that's not true, because of the $2 billion in credits, $1 billion has already been used.
Yes.
At $80 million a month is being used at the moment. So people are running through those credits very fast.
They've got a deadline on those credits in many cases.
Yes, but we'll easily get there at this rate if we do $80 million a month. And we're going to offer a concierge service, which is going to come online now because our call centre is performing better than before COVID, to allow people to have an easy access to use those credits. In addition to the credits, we've refunded $2 billion to our customers. We're way ahead. You know, if you were in other airlines, you lost that money. Qantas has actually been really good, not only at keeping that money for our customers, but getting our customers to use it.
And the final thing about this is also the price of airfares. Yes. One wonders again, with capacity coming out, whether you're trying to get customers used to the idea of higher airfares into the future. Because remember that when there was fierce competition, you always claimed that airfares were way too low as a result of particularly international flights, government-owned airlines subsidising airfares.
One of the reasons, well, not quite on that again, Ross, domestically, what we have been doing is actually the catalyst for low airfares here, because we created Jetstar. I was the founding CEO of Jetstar, and actually what we're saying this year, there's going to be extremely low airfares still in the market. Jetstar will carry 13 million people, 5 million below $100, 10 million below $200. They're airfares that weren't there 20 years ago before Jetstar. When Ansett and Qantas were flying, you'd be lucky to get any airfare below a few $100s. So here we are 20 years later with all of that inflation, and we're offering airfares that are cheaper than taxi rides. So Australians have benefited from what Qantas has done in low airfares and will continue to do so. What we are saying, though, is that we do have to cover this oil price like all businesses do. And we are seeing oil being 80% higher this quarter than it was before COVID, 60% in the year. We've got a $1 billion extra to pay this year than we did in 19 with less flying. So we are saying that the airfares have to go up, or RASK. It could be C factor as well. Jetstar is doing it through increased C factor, extra seats that are full. It has to go up by 10% domestically to cover that, and 20% internationally to cover that. And every airline is faced with the same dilemma of having to try to recover those costs, because after $7 billion of losses, no airline can digest that extra cost.
Okay, so with this result today, the final result, are you saying to the market, to your customers, to your staff, we're through COVID? We're actually now at the end of this, and that it's actually a better Qantas and a better airline industry into the future?
I'm saying that we're coming out of COVID as a lot better airline. We've got an airline that will have new aircraft. We've ordered 300 of them. An airline that's going to do Sunrise. An airline that's investing in product. New lounges we announced today. New routes. Our biggest international network that we've ever had. A bigger domestic network that we've ever had. We're rewarding our employees with $200 million of non-EBA bonuses that they will get. We're rewarding our customers with more frequent flyer seats, and we're doing a lot more initiatives on our loyalty program. But if you're asking me, is COVID over? I don't know. Yeah. I hope it is, because I think we all thought probably at the start of the year it was, and then we've had this run. But are we better positioned to cope with it? Absolutely. Are we building more robustness into our schedule to cope with another wave if it occurs? Absolutely. So we're hopeful that we've learned the lessons of the past past, and we won't be hit twice by an unexpected significant COVID increase. But who knows where COVID goes.
Okay, just a final one for you, and that is that in 2020 it was expected that you might retire. In the centenary year, you'd have actually accomplished an awful lot. Sunrise would have been achieved. You're still here now. And this has taken a toll on you. It's got to, it's, you know, the personal attacks, all that type of stuff, they happen. Just explain the toll it's taking on you.
You know, I'm first of all, I'm really passionate about Qantas. So when the board asked me 3 years ago when we raised equity, because it was important to the market, that I committed to stay until at least the end of 23 to deliver on the recovery programme, to get the airline through the worst crisis in 100 years. Of course, I had to say yes to that, because I am passionate about this company. I think it's an amazing company, amazing people, amazing customers, and I'm disappointed what's happened in the last few months, and we will fix it. But I'm really passionate about making sure it comes out of this better than it went in. And I'm very passionate about projects like Sunrise, which is world leading. No other airline in the world is doing that. I'm very passionate about the product we're going to offer. It's world leading. It's the best in the world. I'm very passionate about our people. They're world leading, the best in the world. At the same time, I know it's a high-profile job, and I've gotten these attacks in 2011, in 2013. When we put vaccine requirements in, I had the anti-vaxxers going at me. So it's continually the other side of the job. But the positives of running the most amazing company in the country, the most amazing Australian icon, greatly outweigh all the brickbats that you get from other people who are just noise in the background, and we won't let them distract us.
Alan Joyce, always good to chat to you. Many thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Ross. Appreciate it.